Look, hey, so while you're starting a little kitchen routine, let me tell you about it. Look, I just got to regather myself, right? Just got to regather myself a little bit, right? Let me put the button. Let me hit that button. Bink, bink, bink. Okay, folks. So, folks, I don't talk this way. I don't talk this way. When you guys, if I'm not on a broadcast, I don't talk this way. Nicky Boom Boom, you guys want in on the chat? Any of my viewers want in on the chat? All you have to do is click that link in the chat button. I can hold up to 6. It's Insta Coffee. It's some of the best coffee, I think. I've never tried it. But I'm certain that it's pretty good coffee. Here's an endorsement to whatever this company is. Nescafe Classico. So, what's the topic of the day? Souls who go through time after they've made major errors. Time-consuming errors, I'd add. Time-consuming. And anyway, so trying to unthread, detangle the entanglement is sometimes difficult. Sometimes it's really easy. But trying to make choices that are irrevocable, that will have huge ramifications in the future, and that we do them all the time for little things, but when we become aware of them, and I'm partly paraphrasing ideas that I heard online, they're very difficult. Things become very difficult. And I'm not certain what to say. Anyway, classical coffee. I do know what to say. That's why I'm recording this. So yesterday I did the wait, I need to be a Nicky Boom Boom character. Yo, so yesterday, I tossed out this crazy lady. Oh, she was my ex-girlfriend because, we were co-lonely chocolates. We were two chocolates that were co-lonely. And she left all this shit here because that's what she likes to do, including a cat. She left a cat here. I couldn't believe it. And anyway, and then I was rereading a phrase in my Ferocious Alphabet book and my 100 Years of Solitude, and I thought I don't, unless who knows, quasi-immortal immortality, the idea that we're going to live forever and then we'll be able to somehow resolve our choices in recompense, in some form of reclamation of being, becomes very difficult. It does become difficult. Oh, hi. My name is Nicky Boom Boom, aka Mike, aka your instructor this evening. And look, everyone's off on a crazy thing, on a tangent, trying to go forward, trying to move ahead, trying to hold on to the bottom tails of a rocket ship so that it carries on forward in time, all positively. And I got to thinking how I don't really spend a lot of time editing videos. Right, check that out. See how everyone, they're holding on to that there rocket, and then boom. See how they're in love. See how they got that there baby. They got their heart, and they're shooting upward. Yes. Let me do that again. A little bird help that rocket get its spin on. Kind of bolt it into the future. So I was hanging out with the old girlfriend, listening to some Momentum video, and she was not familiar with antinatalism per se, and she's already had 2 kids, and she doesn't want to have any more kids. And I keep talking about how I wouldn't mind having kids, and maybe I do have a kid that'd show up, and I got a god kid. But then there was this other video some time ago that was expressing, and maybe if I care to, I'll link it below. And basically, it was expressing the notion that people who are aware that they're just in kind of a holodeck reality with BIOS features, when they come to realize that entities kind of appear before them and away from them, and that the wave function of the data set as we view it is merely it's just pure energy, so to speak, until you look at it, until your eyes apprehend it, and so forth. And so the point being is that these people that were running this consciousness experiment were quite a bit suggesting that, cheers, Royce, to you, to the one person watching, to you, my new fan, my new one eyeball. They were suggesting that people that were aware of their kind of place amongst datum sets, right, looking at oneself as a character, an avatar in a game, that they're less likely to have offspring, that they would be less likely to have offspring. Right. And I had to go back and revisit, other people's arguments and kind of pairing against the Bennettarian notion of, and the Mendham notion of suffering, long suffering, and how dare you import and impose this entity. And I had spent years warring against the notion, like, the imposition argument is dead. You're not imposing, you're merely projecting. And then this notion of imposing is like some sort of retroactive adjectives being thrown at and around the organism, right? But to all of the extent that contradiction continues, contrary ideas, flux, ebb and flow of contrary ideas. Cheers once again. To the point of all that, fantastico, marvelous, absolutely marvelous. The bigger picture that had come to mind, and why I thought, hey, bring out Nicky Boom Boom today, Nicky Boom Boom, is because positivity, right? How to, if you will, bring the highest echelons of positivity into one's surroundings. Granted, my hair doesn't look great today, and that by itself is a negative. I have to apologize for that. I'm not certain what look I'm going for now, but it is kind of the sideline. Perhaps it's a clown thing. I got the I don't know, like how to look at people with gray hair, right, as a sign of the human organism aging, and realize that some people just outrightly accept it. They don't fight their age. They're not busy coding over it. They knew who they are as a human animal. There's no need to lay out a line of horse shit, right? And so anyway, my point is that during life, sometimes inadvertently or because one is under stress, they'll lay out lines of horse shit. And those particular lines of horse shit can come back to bite you. Yes, yes, indeedy, they can. Lines of horse shit coming back to bite one. That being said, we're at 10 minutes. Boy, just like the good old days of 10 minutes. What of this here? This is my makeshift Jacob's ladder. We're gonna climb up to the stars, right? Gotta get the people out of the muck, right? You people, we're in muck. We're on Earth, and we're trying to get yanked out. We're trying to go to Starfleet. We're trying to meet the super aliens that know what's up, right? The AI that our AI is reverberating off of, kind of like back in the day, we suggested, like it was suggested, like as soon as humanity developed radio waves, right, that those were cast out into the cosmos, and there was even some movies about this, right? And then somehow aliens were getting our TV, and they were going, wow, bonky, bonky, wonky, wonky, and there were all these alien babies, and I forget the movie it was. And so they were hearing it, right? And so then they send craft down, and boom, we get Area 51, and then we start retroactively analyzing and, redeconstructing. That's not the word, redeconstructing. What we do is we analyze and we reverse engineer. That's the word. The technology, and then we end up with things like Kevlar and the internet and this and that. And then you get arguments like, hey, give credit to humanity. Humans did this, not some alien, retro engineering. And then we got huge hadron colliders and this and that, and things are kind of moving in this particular fashion, right? The thing that's not moving, right, is that the aliens, they can not only read your mind, they can control your mind. And it's kind of happening already. And then you can use different chemicals, right? Nicky Boom Boom likes this kind of coffee because it dumbs down a certain aspect of interpretability. So even if something is controlling your mind, you wouldn't want to look back on it like you're your own avatar within a game. Presto, right? And if you're playing your own avatar, trying to figure out how do I influence this knucklehead avatar, that BIOS avatar of mine, to make decent, proper, well-adjusted, carefully refined decisions such that they land into the future with more beauty and more grace and more peace and more understanding. Why am I a witch? And what am I supposed to choose? Well, I'm within a crucible now, a heated crucible, right? Where I know that it knows, that you know, that we know that this is how I think, that how you think, how we think. See, as you're following me, if you're following me. Here was one thing I understood before the X ran out. Excuse me one moment. Let me see if I can get back to that thought. Oh, it's one of those. It's barely one of these alerts, signals, right? Trying to obfuscate the topic. So some people sit at your center as a type of a nugget, the nugget of the heart, something heartfelt. And it's kind of like if you find these young loves, good relationships, well-bounded, and there's something that's just like tearing it apart, right? I've already gone through these rips, right? Almost callously putting hearts in jars. Nicky Boom Boom, boom, put a lot of hearts in jars. Because somehow when there was perfection, I would screw it up. And when there wasn't perfection, I would invite it to stay longer. And I learned this habit by making a perilous choice in my past. Grave danger, as the court would say. I was in grave danger. Nicky Boom Boom, grave danger, make good decision. Witch, Hufflepuff, Slytherin, whatever. It's not even restricted there. The whole point was this, right? One can move within domains of mythos. You can believe that you found the proper company that manifests the things that your heart seems to
align with or find itself ecstatic. And then at other points, you have to drop it, become sterilized, become stoic, remove yourself. And then you're looking at trend lines. At least I'm looking at trend lines. Like, which way to go? What is the most ecstatic, beautiful means of rolling out one's future while occasionally tripping on some shit? Like leaping off a roof and busting up my feet and now having hip issues. That was huge. But on the upside, I get this here trusty witch's mop. Right? Watch me scare myself. By the way, hey, Mike, Nicky Boom Boom, you in the future, don't let yourself get all unnerved. Yay! Harry Potter. I do have the Harry Potter insignia. So I sit low key as the world is on fire in its tech and its knowledges, and the new minds are coming up, the new generation of minds trying to garner the knowledge, take and fulfill the moment of this curve, this ramping up curve into the future. And then there's us earthlings, some of us still witchy, not just mere muggles, right? But, you know, you go tripping, you go falling, Nicky go boom, boom, and nicking, you nick away at yourself, you nick away at the heart. There we go. For what it's worth, prayer to the universe, old painting, good painting, good day, sun spiral. The real question is, does Muhammad Ali continue to do an amazing rope-a-dope, knocking players out, becoming champion of the world, just to get his diseases and die? Or does he choose a more gracious path such that his death or his enlightenment and ascendment, to be ascended, an ascended master, does he go physically in damages out? Is there rope-a-dopes mentally? Is it all a configuration of contradiction? This is not at all how I wanted this video to go, by the way. I had something else entirely in mind to mention. That being said, let's read one more segment here from Ferocious Minds. We'll try to keep this under 20 minutes. Thanks for getting this far, students, in the magical world of worlds of worlds. Okay, we're just going to go from where I left off here in the book, the bookly, to number 2, : It was also possible, reading a book, to treat the other as ostensible, not necessarily indistinguishable from yourself, but succinctly cognate with yourself, that the reading could be felt as an extension of your own possibilities. Put like that, it sounds crazy. If I were encouraging you to suppress the difference between yourself and Dante, it is not crazy in practice, especially in George Paulet's practice, a critic to whom I shall return in this later chapter. Meanwhile, I would describe his position in reading as that of drawing the contents of the book toward a center identified as his consciousness. The relation between this consciousness and what it encounters is from that moment complex. By the way, this is partially why I do a reading online. Who knows what the future mirror will look like? Hopefully it looks better than this. This outfit's quite disheveled, Mr. Mike. It is certainly not blunt meeting of subject and object. Object is drawn into the circle of the subject, the reading consciousness, so powerful that we doubt whether we can say where one ends and the other begins, or even when one becomes the other, or what happens to the circle, or whether it holds, the center holds. Naturally, the subject drawing the book into its consciousness is not the same as the subject before or apart from doing so. Enough of this for the moment. Clearly, it points towards a kind of reading in which a stark demarcation of reader and book is blurred, and the blurring favors the reader. To read in this way, you have to divide yourself into an ordinary self, absent from the reading, and a self so deeply in communion with the text that the gap between the self and the text is eliminated. Ideally, the coalescence of the self as reader and the book as text is so complete that it hardly matters whether, in describing it, we start with terms of reader or terms of text. Something like the experience is described in Virginia Woolf in A Sketch of the Past. So that's profound. In Virginia Woolf's A Sketch of the Past. We are the words, we are the music, we are the thing itself, and by Eliot in The Dry Savages. Or music heard so deeply that it will not heard at all, but you are the music while the music lasts. There is a difference. Eliot values the music because in the experience of hearing it, we can transcend our mere selves, escaping from our ordinary and ordinarily trivial emotions. That's so nice. That is so nice. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening. That is Which Class at Non-Hogwarts? Non-Proxy Gaslighting by Being No Siree. Mulakazam, Mulakazoo, let's make the day the best through and through. Let's dance the Svengali. Let's hope for world peace. Let's make the balance between self and the masters and the one in your place known to you and known happily and granted peace and granted grace. For what comes next is still maybe not a resting place. Cheers. Over and out. You guys have been great. Num 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 num. Boink dunk 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 dunk.